Whoa, clear out the room, I'm coming through, they wanna see what I'm about. Yeah, I got skills, do it for the thrill, I'm on a paper route. Extra, extra, read about it, I'm today's trying to top it. I put commas over bullshit, yeah, I put that on bombers. They tryna block all my blessings, they thought I lost for stepping. I bet on me and my team, ISO is what I'm repping. Put on for the whole city, yeah, I got them rocking with me. I bet on me and my team, ISO is what I'm repping. I'm blowing a pack of that.
My gear list was super light. Like, that's the great part about this film, is that really anybody can make it. There's no barrier to entry. Like, you could do this on an iPhone, which is super cool. But me specifically, I used a Sony FX3 and I had a Sigma 24-70 f2.8 lens. Lens is super great because it's just so versatile. It's the only lens I have, and it's just, I can use it for anything, which is why I love it so much. And then for my mic, I use the Movo VXR10 Pro. It's a super cheap, affordable mic, but honestly, it's really good. And I've had nothing but good things to say about it so far. And because the FX3 doesn't have built-in ND filters, I had to use my own variable ND. So I used my JJC variable ND, and honestly, it's a super great ND filter. It doesn't really affect the colors too much or anything. It's high quality glass, and it's super budget friendly. I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, super small gear list, really perfect for what I like shooting, because it's just so nice having a minimal setup. It allows you to just be so much more free with your movement and not have to worry about a bunch of different gear like a gimbal or something. Now that you know what gear I use, let's take a look at the film. And just a quick disclaimer, I shot this film with my buddy Yigal, so that is who the athlete is. So if you hear me saying Yigal, that's who it is. The first clip is just Yigal tying up his running shoes. It's just a great way to show the viewer that it's gonna be an athletic commercial. And to go along with this first clip here, I added a shoelace tie sound effect, so you can kind of hear it here. Just Yigal tying up his shoes just adds a nice layer to it. And additionally, I added bird sounds. So right here, it's just the bird sounds. And you can kind of hear it in the background along with the shoelaces. It's very subtle, but it just adds that extra dimension to make it sound more realistic. Moving on to the second clip, I added a whoosh sound just to show that Yigal's moving his body up like this. And you can kind of hear it, it's very subtle. Just that very subtle whoosh along with his breath. It just tells the viewer he's sitting up. Because this was a spec Apple commercial for their Air Maxes or AirPods, I can't remember what they're called now. But yeah, he sits up, puts the AirPods on, and then he's ready to go. And what I did with the audio, so you can kind of hear the audio throughout the video. It's a muffled like hip hop beat, and you can't really hear it. But then he puts his headphones on, and you can hear the audio come on. So that was kind of the effect I was going for, and I think it turned out pretty well. So you can hear it here.
Whoa, clear out the room, I'm coming.
He puts the headphones on, and notice how I don't play the audio right away, because I noticed that his hands were on it and he kind of touches the side to hit play, and then the music starts. Because if I put the music on right when he put the headphones on, it sounded a little bit weird. So I tried it with him touching the side and it worked out perfectly. And I also added a couple additional sound effects. Like I added the sound effect of him putting the headphones on, and I added the sound effect right here of Yigal sitting down on the bench. Just a couple subtle things that you don't really notice, but it just makes it sound much more realistic and it's much more engaging to the viewer. And then again, I added a whoosh just to, I don't know, just like preference. You don't have to add that, but it's up to you. Just add your own style. Just don't make it too much for the viewer, you know? So just Yigal going through the ladder here. It's just a couple different variations of shots. So this first shot, it's a very wide shot, and I'm actually up high with the camera. So I'm looking down on Yigal like this to show that he's kind of powerless in the situation. You know, he's starting the workout. It's gonna be a hard workout. And when the camera is up high like this, looking down on the subject, that's kind of the emotion that it portrays. Whereas the opposite would be if I was looking up at Yigal with the camera and he was very tall and very big, he would look powerful. So that's why I went not bird's eye view, but top down, just to make Yigal look small and weak, like he's taking on a really hard workout. And then just goes in here to a couple different shots of Yigal moving his feet like this throughout the ladder. And these are just like cool little moving shots. I really liked how this turned out. I was really happy with it. And the shots aren't like, there's not too many static shots. Like you want to have a nice blend between static shots and moving shots. So the first two, like this one's static, and then this one, you can see I kind of take an arc movement. And then for this one, I'm going towards Yigal. So it's just two different movements and it makes it more engaging, more cinematic. And personally, I like when there's a nice blend between static and movement, because so commonly now with gimbals and different technologies, people use so much camera movement, and I think it's kind of jarring, and it's kind of a lost art for the static shot. So I think it's a good blend to have both. And I also recorded footsteps by myself, which you can hear. It was literally just me next to the mic stomping my feet, but it sounds so much better with the footsteps then. And in addition to the footsteps, I also recorded breath, which you can hear here. It was literally just me in the mic going, but just adds that other aspect. You know, it makes it more realistic and viewers really like it. Moving on to the next clip. This is one of my favorite shots that I've ever gotten like a video like this. Because Yigal goes through, it's right on his face, look how intense he looks, and then boom, blasts out of the shot just like that. But there's a unique twist that I added that I'm not sure a lot of people picked up on. So he goes through like this, and then boom, it goes slow motion right on his face, just to emphasize that how intense of a moment it is, how hard he's working. And I was super happy with how that turned out. Like, we spent so much time trying to get that shot. It's important when you're using slow motion to kind of use it as an emphasis, not just overuse it. So many people overuse slow motion and it just gets kind of like, whoa, that is a lot of slow motion. But when you use it in moments like that, it's actually so nice because it just emphasizes it and adds a lot to the video.
Extra, read about it. I'm today's trying to top it.
And then this, another cool little trick that I added here. So he comes towards the screen and then kneels down. He's all tired and I added different sound effects. So I added a heartbeat sound effect, breath sound effect, and then you know that ringing you hear in your ears when like, I don't know, when you're very tired, you're doing cardio, and you just hear that ringing in your ears. I added a ringing in his ears. And what I did with the audio in Final Cut, you can add it. So I'll show you here. So we have different kinds of surround audio in Final Cut Pro, which is a great feature. So as you can see here, this is where the audio is. So these two are like your rear speakers in your headphones, and these are your front speakers in your headphones. And I pulled the ringing all the way back just so it sounds really realistic and actually sounds like it's in the listener's head. So it turned out really well. So he goes down, he's super tired, and then boom, match cut. And I was really happy with this because I actually just came up with this randomly on shoot day. But it's a match cut from Yigal super tired. So he's very tired, and then goes, he blows out with his breath, and then he's ready to take on the next challenge. And it also transitions us away from the ladder and the sprinting into a new workout. So actually you can see the stairs right here. I placed the camera like right where Yigal's feet are right now, and it was looking at him when his hands were on his knees in the previous shot, and he went right over it. So it was a pretty clean shot, just like this, breathe out, and then up and over the camera. Then transitions to him going again. And again, shot from top down, making Yigal look powerless because he's still working super hard. The workout's extremely difficult. And again, just like the other running clips, I added footsteps in here just to me running on the steps myself. And I also added a whoosh here. So I'm just gonna disable this so you can hear it. But there's a whoosh, right? So you hear that whoosh? It's just transitioning Yigal from over the camera to the next shot. It's just like a subtle thing that I like to add personally, but you might not like it. And yeah, so Yigal, he goes up, and then another shot of Yigal right here, just doing a little workout on the steps, different variation. Next shot is Yigal coming down, and this is a cool shot because as Yigal is coming down, I'm going up with the camera, and it looks pretty cool. And it's subtle, but I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I've been talking a lot in the video about how a lot of the shots have been top down, showing how Yigal's powerless. But this is signaling the end of the video because Yigal is actually up top and I'm coming towards him. So he looks very powerful because he's completing the workout. He's finishing it. So that's why I'm coming from top up. He's coming down, looking very powerful. And boom, transitions into the last shot of Yigal just sitting down here. And again, with the headphones, it's loud, and boom, takes them off, goes muffled again, going back to the earlier effect. But yeah, that is the edit with the sound effects. It's really nothing crazy. And for the last part, I'm just gonna briefly go on my color grading. And I don't really wanna talk a lot about this because it's definitely my weakest point in filmmaking, but let's take a look. So I use Final Cut Pro, obviously, and I have 4 different separate layers here. So one for saturation, contrast, white balance, and exposure. So I went through each clip and I had to adjust a lot of the exposure and the white balance because specifically my white balance was off in a lot of clips. So if you look at this one, I hit V, see how it's like purple? That is not what it's supposed to look like. So I had to do a lot of correction, especially with this one as well. So it looks a lot better with the white balance. And then basic exposure, like I'm sure you guys know, like Command 7 quickly, just you want to drag the shadows down to close to 0 and the highlights up without them peaking or getting flat. And you don't want to drag the shadows below 0 and you don't want to drag the highlights above 100. Basic stuff. And then probably what you guys want to know is my color grade. And I hope you're not disappointing because it's not anything crazy, but I added a bit of film grain, just like 7 notches. It's not super noticeable, just take a bit of the sharpness off the clips. And I also added 1 prism. This is kind of controversial. Some people say to do it, some people say to don't, but honestly, it takes a bit of the sharpness off again. And it kind of gives you a little bit of like a filmic look, like extremely subtle. But again, personal preference. And then lastly, for my color grade itself, it's a very simple color grade here. So it's just teal and orange. I just dragged the highlights up to orange a little bit, drag the shadows down to teal a little bit. Subtle look, like you can barely tell. Basically just warms up the image a little bit, but yeah, very simple color grade, nothing crazy, and a very simple edit in general. Like no crazy transitions, just a lot of cool creative shots. Very simple, but yeah, it's honestly something that anybody can make if you just take a little time, a little practice, and a little patience. Anybody can do it. But yeah, that is my breakdown of my cinematic athletic commercial. And if you guys did enjoy the video, I would appreciate it if you hit a like and subscribed to the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.